Well, it is our distinct pleasure that we've got our very own Rebecca Henry with us today. Yes, thank you. Not to me, to her. I don't know why I said thank you, but we are very glad to have Rebecca here. She was the chair of the mission team when I got here, and she helped show me the ropes and encouraged me that way. But Rebecca has done some amazing work in our community, and I know many of you already know that. So we are so thankful, Rebecca, that you've given up one of your Wednesday nights to come and share with us about this amazing ministry and care that you have for the Lawrence Township. Will you all just help welcome Rebecca as she comes forward?
They gave me, is this working? There we go. Okay, they gave me one of these things to wear, and I have to apologize because I'm not feeling super well tonight. My voice isn't really strong, and I got some advice from Reverend Kite, and he said, just let the microphone do all the work. So I'll try and do that, but honestly, I get so excited about this, and I was born a loud talker, so I apologize in advance if I am not able to let the microphone carry it for me. So before I start really to talk too much about exactly what Share is, there is a little bit of information on the tables. They'll give you some of an idea. But I wanted to kind of talk to you and kind of get some ideas from you on what your best memories of summer were, either as a young person, so 12 to 18, or as a parent when your kids were that age. So if you would just shout out something that was a fond memory from your summer.
First day when school was out.
First day when school was out. Okay. Thank you. Well done. Anybody else?
Mission projects.
Mission projects, yes. Work project, camping, fantastic summer activity. Just did that in the fall. Swimming, yes, wonderful. So we have all these wonderful memories of fun in the summer, right? So let me tell you my personal story of school and summer. My personal story of school and summer is that I hated school. And the first day of summer was my favorite day ever. And the last day of summer was my least favorite day ever. I was not an excellent student, and that meant that I got a lot of negative feedback from very well-meaning people. You're not working up to your potential, you're lazy, you're not trying hard enough. So when I stepped into that space, all of a sudden I was less than. But in my summertime, I was everything. I was the youngest of 3 children by far. My parents were totally over-parenting. They didn't care what I did. They did care where I was, and they paid attention to that. They both had very non-traditional work schedules, so I was never alone. My mom taught classes in the afternoon at our local recreation department. My dad worked at the airport downtown, so he often worked nights, so I could work in his garden. He was an avid gardener. We would do car repairs together. My mom would take me canoeing. We would go to local parks. We went swimming. Summer was fun. And the other difference for me was that all of my friends lived in my neighborhood. So across the street, catty corner, around the block, and I could walk to all of their houses. And right across the street was a lovely local park that I could walk to and hang out with my friends, as long as I told my mom where I was going and when I was going to be back and who I was going to be with. So that's my personal story of what summer was like. So let me get this right side up and turned on. Welcome. Maybe I went the wrong way. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Abracadabra. Welcome.
Try the right-hand button, the 3 o'clock button.
Yep, that's the one I'm pushing. Well, there we go. Why isn't summer the same today? You might say, everybody here has the same opportunities that I had when I was a young person, right? Well, that's not quite the same today. We have a lot of 2 working parent families, so they cannot be home. They're probably making fine money, but they are not able to be there with their teenagers all day during the summer. And thankfully there are cell phones, so you can text, but you really still don't know where your child is when you're texting with them. We have single-parent families that live near us, and they are working, and they have enough money to meet their needs, but they're not able to be home with their children all day long. They're teens. Our neighborhoods in this area around here tend to be very isolated. They're not nearly as connected as my neighborhood was when I was a young person. Thankfully, we just have this new walkway out here, and I was so excited when that went in, and I want that for every neighborhood, everywhere. But right here around us, it's not like that, and a lot of the apartment complexes go way back in there forever. I mean, it could take you probably a half an hour just to walk out of your own apartment complex, and then when you get there, where are you? You're on the highway. So that's not safe or practical. So lack of transportation in isolated neighborhoods, and of course, limited financial resources can be a problem for families as well. So a couple of weeks ago, Corey Korn came and she talked about Lawrence Township schools. And she's fantastic and the schools are fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say. And she gave us some statistics about public schools. I just want to pull out a few of those that I feel are applicable to share. So MSC of Lawrence Township, which is the schools that all of the kids around here attend, is the 9th largest school district in the state. I think that's about right, the 9th largest. That's huge. We're educating nearly 16,000 students. So out of those students, 57% are on free lunch and another 7% are on reduced lunch. And that's not a spot-on representation of poverty. It's not, but it's the best estimator that we have. But the other number that I want to point out that Corey didn't mention is that nearly half or more of those are in that 12 to 18 age range that SHARE is designed for. So over half of the kids that are in our township are in that age group of students where they're really too old for summer camp, which stops probably right after 6th grade. They don't live in an area that's connected enough to get a job and work during the summer. You see there are millions of signs up everywhere you go, hiring. And they're perfect teenage jobs, but nobody has a way to get there because in some of the more far out neighborhoods, there is bus transportation, but if you want to get from 42nd and Post up to the Castleton Square Mall, where all the kids would want to work, you have to take a bus downtown and transfer. It takes like 2 hours, and a bus pass is really expensive, and you don't get a discount. So maybe you can get one free bus pass from Catholic Charities until you get your first paycheck, but that's not a viable solution for kids anymore. So the other challenge that we have in the MSD of Lawrence Township, back in 2014, the public safety director for Marion County, or for the city of Indianapolis at the time, was named Troy Riggs. He's now the chief of police, but he did a study that looked at Marion County, and what he found about Marion County was that there are really 6 pockets of poverty and crime in Marion County, where about 5% of the population resides, but about 30% of the homicides and 27%, did I get those numbers flipped, of non-fatal shootings occur. So that's a crazy statistic, and he really feels like if we target those 6 areas, we'll be able to make a difference not only in the lives of the people that live there, but also in the lives of the surrounding community. So inside the Metropolitan School District of Lawrence Township is one of those 6 areas of focus that they're still working on. So right there around 42nd and Post, we have students who are living in those conditions, and all of those students attend Lawrence Township schools, and they're doing a fantastic job of educating and caring for them. So those are the challenges that we have. What are the resources that we have that can provide joy and hope to people? Well, the first thing is we have excellent churches. We have churches on every corner of everywhere around here, right? And churches are very well suited for taking care of and loving youth. They have youth areas, they have youth directors, they have youth activities. Generally, a loving bunch of people, I would say, welcoming. So we have that going for us. We have caring educators and administrators in Lawrence Township schools. All of my kids have gone through Lawrence Township schools, and I cannot say enough good things about them. And all of those good people, we have relationships with the guidance counselor at every single middle school and high school in Lawrence Township. We know them by name. We greet them when we see them. We have their email addresses and exchange ideas about what kids need. They know their students. They know the needs. They know the parents that want things like Share, and they connect us very well. And that is another blessing that we have in Lawrence Township. What else do we have? We have loving parents. We have parents that care where their students are. They want the best for them, even if they are not able to be that person to be with them all day during the summer. They care, they love their students, and they want something good for them. They want that good old-fashioned summer that maybe they had or maybe they didn't have, but that every young person probably should have. And the other thing we have going for us is we have fantastic individuals in Lawrence Township that do have resources, financial resources, connections, and other things that can help us. We have businesses, we have apartment complexes, we have neighborhoods who all want teens to be safe and occupied and happy, because that benefits everybody in the community. So that brings us to Share and what our purpose is. And our vision is we want young people, teens in Lawrence Township, to be safe and engaged in the community when school is not in session. And how do we hope to achieve that vision? That's by providing safe, meaningful activities, supervised activities, meaningful connection to community through service, because we believe that it's important for young people to know that they matter to other people. And you can do that very well through service. And it's for youth, 12 to 18, when school is not in session. So some quick facts about Share. We host students at least 2 days at this point, at least 2 days anytime school is out for a week or longer. We provide transportation for families because we know we can't keep the kids with us all day. We're not there yet. And the schedule that we run is not compatible with a normal work schedule. So when students need transportation, we provide it. Students who care for younger siblings would not be able to participate in our program. If their family is relying on them for the cost savings that they provide as caregivers for their siblings, they would not be able to send their teens to this group if we didn't allow their siblings to come. So as long as they're school age, kindergarten, first grade, they can come along. We started back in 2013. We had 8 students. We only had 2 young men the first day we ever had a Share. To date, in 2016, we're only partway through the year. We've done our summer programming, but that's it. We've already met with 58 students. We began with 3 faith community supporters, 3 churches that were supporting us, and now we have grown to 5 churches supporting us. And I had a good chuckle one day. I overheard some kids, one of them was hassling the other one about not coming, and he said, yeah, well, I didn't RSVP for transportation. And she goes, you know, this is not the old Share, this is the new Share. It's like, I chuckled about that, but this is what they mean by that. The old Share was very small. We were all volunteers that were just there to love and hang out with the kids. It was very unstructured. We would invite them into the youth area. They would play pool. They would play ping pong. Sometimes we would help out with Stillwater. Maybe we would play some games with some of the Stillwater older adults, and that was usually interesting. But we had a much smaller student base, and so we could do those things more easily, and we didn't really require structure. We had enough adult volunteers there to take care of 8 kids, that, not take care of, but to hang out with them, that it really didn't matter. The new Share is quite different and has presented some challenges. But the best thing about it is that since I've gotten so much, or we have gotten so much community support in the form of financial donations, which is important, we have been able to hire leaders, which is especially important for the summertime, because they're able to be there with the students the whole time. Every single week, the same leaders are there. So they're forging relationships with students. They're learning about their families and what their needs might be. They're learning what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what they like to do, really creating a bond. And the other positive is that with that money, I've also been able to hire a summer program director for the last 2 years to kind of help me with some of the planning, so that rather than being quite so unstructured, now that we have a lot more kids, we obviously can't just let it be a free-for-all. So we need to have some structure. And we also know that there are some good things that we want to program in along with the free time and the fun time, because that was part of the good summer that I have. It was enrichment, it was fun, it was activity. So we want to keep that. So we have a much larger student base, but our ratio is still pretty small. As you can see, 8-to-1 is pretty good. I'm sure just about any teacher would jump at that opportunity. And now with the new share, we have a much greater emphasis on service and on enrichment, which I think is important for the students also. So this is my fantastic summer lead team. We have Nicole. She's a 3rd grade teacher at Brook Park, which is right down the road here. We have Kalen. He is a sophomore. Actually, I think he's beginning his junior year at Vincennes. He's studying, he wants to become a physical trainer, and so he was really fantastic with the students. He would jump in, he was exercising with them, getting them active, getting them moving, and also often modeling what a good, healthy lifestyle looks like, and that was really great. We have Stacy, and she is a junior at IUPUI. She's studying sociology, and actually I think it's social work. We have Derek Davenport, tall guy in the back, and he works at Lawrence North High School. I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but I believe he's like a student aide, a classroom aide, working with students. And we have Andrea Roberts, who is, she was a member of our SHARE program. She was a graduate. She had graduated, and she didn't have any plans for She didn't have any plans for the summer, so I hired her, and she came and took care of our itty-bitties. So all of our younger siblings ran around with Miss Andrea. They ate together, they played on playgrounds together. When we were doing activities that were suitable for older kids, Miss Andrea had the little ones. And back in the back is Samantha Hyman. Her family actually had been a member here at Castleton years ago. She is now a senior at IU in Bloomington, and she's studying nonprofit management and event planning, and she was just a fantastic addition to our group, very high energy. She helped me a lot with planning that summer calendar that's out on the table for you guys to look at. So this is my favorite part. I'm just going to go through some pictures, some highlights of what the summer was like. And then after this section, I'm going to have some of the students are here tonight, and I'd like to have each of them introduce themselves and say what they liked about SHARE. And then also, if their parents don't mind, if they're here and feel like it, I would love for them as parents to tell you what about SHARE was meaningful to them. So let's go through some of these. I'll try and be quick. This is where I'm going to get excited and talk loud, but we had, the very first day, we had Lori Deslotels come and talk to us, and I don't know if any of you know her, but she's a fantastic speaker. She probably has I think she has a TED Talk online that you guys can look up. But she came and she talked to the students about their brains and how stress and other emotions can negatively affect you when you're making decisions on a day-to-day basis, and talked to them about how stress and some of those overly emotional times can affect you at home and at school, and gave them some strategies for how they can calm themselves and be more focused when they're at school. And we also did some really fun brain games, which it was trying to make different parts of your body do different things at the same time, and it was crazy. Here we went on a hike at Fort Bend. We took a full loop around with a naturalist, Caitlin. She did a great job connecting with the students, teaching them about all the different plants and animals that are there at the park. Topics about conservation, topics right here in this picture, they're talking about invasive species. And when we all came back and met at the shelter afterwards, she quizzed the kids on it, and you would not believe how much of that they retained. I love kids who learn on their feet. That was totally me. I never wanted to sit still and learn about things from a book, but it's fantastic. She connected with them one-on-one. We went on the nature walk. They remembered it. I love that. We had Officer Matt Hickey from the Lawrence Police Department come, and he brought the service dog, not the service dog, excuse me, what would you call him? Officer Axel. And he talked to the kids about Axel's past. Axel is a war veteran. He served in Iraq. He was a bomb-sniffing dog, and now he is the drug dog at Lawrence Township School. So a lot of these kids have seen Officer Hickey and Axel walking up and down the hallways, sniffing for things. They got an opportunity to see Axel on some of his downtime. As you can see, his tongue is lolling there to the side. He looks very anxious and tense, don't you think? Very intimidating. They got to go to the Peace Learning Center for for 4 sessions. They went for 2 consecutive days. Unfortunately, the days that they were there, it was very rainy, but outside there at Eagle Creek Park is a beautiful place, and hopefully next year we'll get to experience the outside some more. They did topics on conflict resolution, self-esteem and personal power, the world outside of me and what I can do for the world, and also one on communication, I believe. A fantastic opportunity that we would definitely like to repeat. One of my favorite highlights was when we got to visit Northside Baptist. They hosted us there. They have a beautiful church facility, and they also have a very loving group of adults called their Joy Luncheon, which would be somewhat similar to our Variety Bunch, thank you, on the tip of my tongue. So they gather once a month. They set out an amazing spread of food for the kids. Oh my gosh, all the desserts. The kids hardly ate any. I mean, they ate as much as they could, but there was still left over. But what we did with them was a StoryCorps activity. How many of you have ever listened to StoryCorps on NPR? Very moving opportunities where generally 2 people come together and discuss a meaningful event in their life, and it is recorded and kept in, I think, the Congress, whatever, Library of Congress. But what we did was we had the students and the adults fill out the same questionnaire. What we were talking about that week was perseverance and overcoming obstacles. That was our topic with the kids that week. So some of the questions were, have you ever experienced homelessness, loss of a loved one, general disappointment in life? There were several other topics. We had the adults fill it out, the students fill them out, the leaders got back together. They paired people off who had answered the questions similarly, and then they sat and with a guided set of questions talked to each other. And the students had an opportunity to learn from a group of older adults who looked much different from them and came from a different part of life, learned how they overcame the same obstacles that the kids were struggling with in their life. Obviously, here they are, 70 plus years old. They've done it. They made it. And they went through this. And the older adults were very moved by the interaction with the students, and I heard them talking about it later, and they were very touched to learn about some of the things that students have going on in their lives these days. And it was a fantastic and very moving experience. And then we all went out and played basketball and ran around, and so that was all good. We got to go to the Flegehawat Center. Am I saying that right? I never know if I'm saying that right. It's a fantastic urban farm. They're doing wonderful things, teaching students about farming downtown. But we did a STEM activity with them where Victoria Schmalhofer from IUPUI, she's an entomologist, gathered the students. And she told our group of students, she gave them all these little green tubes and sent them out into the farm to gather insects. And I was like, yeah, right, that's gonna happen. Well, this is what they came back with. They came back with this whole table full of insects. This guy right here found a spider, no kidding, that big, and was brave enough to trap it in that little green thing. She laid them all out there with the help of her assistant, categorized them, explained to the students, what different part of the species they belong to. I don't even remember that part, but and then talked about what their function in the garden was. It was a fantastic experience. And these 2 young men here on the end were desperate to catch a butterfly. And I was following them. They were across the street. They were down the road. The 3 of us were trying to catch this butterfly. And they were moving so much I couldn't even get it captured on the on a good picture. But that's my heart memory from that day. I loved that. As part of our week on stewardship, we learned about the earth. We had Jim Poyser from Earth Charter Alliance Earth Charter Indiana come and talk to the students about conservation and what they can do to protect the environment. We also spent some time that day at the Oaklandon Elementary Outdoor Lab. Their director there, Laura Getz, did activities with the students, showed them around the outdoor lab, and also they did a little bit of lab cleanup from service while they were there. Serving, we also got had a lot of opportunities to do service this summer, and one of the days that we had kids together, we took them to Som Park Pool. A small group of students did not feel like swimming that day, so they went with our very dedicated volunteer, Sue Weiner, and not pictured there is Gail Merritt, that's Gail Weiner and Sue Merritt, were our volunteers from Faith Presbyterian Church, who has been a huge supporter of ours since the very beginning. So those two ladies took these three young ladies, and they fixed a whole meal for all of the kids at Outreach. They delivered it to Outreach and got a tour of the facility and learned a little bit more about homelessness. And that same week, we were studying empathy that week, and that same week, we had Kathleen Brannon from Horizon House come and talk to kids about how people experience homelessness in Indianapolis, and then afterwards the kids made food kits. They packed up food kits and wrote inspirational messages to the people that would receive those on the bags. We took a trip over to AHEPA, which is a group that Billy knows from the mission team. We have been supporting as much as we can. AHEPA, if you don't know about them, is a low-income senior housing unit right here by the school. We took these young people and we went over to AHEPA, and they helped them do some light cleaning and just conversation with adults that didn't get to have visitors very often, helped clean out some high cabinets, helped move some old furniture. And at the end of the day, especially Kalen, this young man, that I actually stole that from his post, and he was just so excited. As a leader, he was so excited to go with the students and serve. So we're not just changing the lives of the students that come, we are impacting the lives of people who are doing the leading as well and showing them some things they might not normally see. We did kindness one week. The kids were talking about what kind of random acts of kindness they could do. They decided that they would bring in their own money and they would buy items for the Humane Society. So they brought in, you can see this young man has a big stack of $1 bills. The kids brought money that they stole from their grandmother's purses, or maybe some of them got it out of their own allowance, I don't know. But they brought in money from their parents, from their grandparents, from their neighbors that they had asked, and they told them what they were going to do with the money. And then we took them to Walmart as a group and had them shop using that money. And you can see the look of anguish on this young lady's face because she only has X amount of money, and is she going to buy dog bones, which she really wants to buy, or is she going to have to buy something less expensive and more boring like cleaner, which was also on their list of things they needed because we made them make some financial decisions based on their limited budget. So that was also a wonderful experience. The day that we were at Northside, we got to help in their food pantry a little bit. We helped unload delivery of fresh vegetables. The kids went through the vegetables and sorted out all the rotten ones and organized the other ones so that later in the afternoon, when the people came through the food pantry, they had nice things to choose from. We did a little bit of light weeding outside of Stillwater, just to kind of perk up that area. I think it still looks a little sad. We need to get some things planted in there. But we did do some weeding that day, and the kids really jumped in and got it done. There were some pretty nasty, thorny things in there. So we also hosted the kids had a lemonade stand. Our nearby neighbor community was very gracious and allowed us not only to set up our lemonade stand right outside their doors, but they shot an email out to everybody saying, hey, these kids are selling lemonade for a good cause, go out and buy some. One young man who did not want to participate in the activity at all came running up to me afterwards, Ms. Rebecca, I asked the guy if he wanted lemonade and he said no, and he just gave me $5. He didn't even take the lemonade. It's like, yeah. Well, I don't know if I would have either, but it was the thought that counted, and they raised an awful lot of money. And with that money, we took some of the money and we bought $10 gift certificates at the Walmart and went down to that Walmart on, it's like 38th and Franklin, it's the neighborhood market. And we stood outside the Walmart and we purchased the gift cards there, and we stood outside the Walmart and just offered them to people who were coming in. And it was fantastic to see the kids' interaction with the people. Obviously, people are suspicious about why you're giving them a gift card for absolutely no reason, so that would require some explaining. And we're here as part of this group, and we're just doing random acts of kindness, and we want to bless your day, and here's this gift card. And the manager came out, and he was like, I can't really have you out here soliciting. And I invited one of the young men, I think it was one of your young men. I invited him over to explain what we were doing, and he talked to the manager, and he told them very clearly and succinctly what we were doing and why we were there. And the man was like, wow, that's fantastic. Let me give you my business card. We want to partner with you on the next time we do a community day, which they often do there in their parking lot. But we also gave away flowers. We bought some flowers, and people are very suspicious about people giving flowers. So the kids came back, they're like, we couldn't give them away. People weren't taking them. So maybe that was a failed experiment. I don't know. Miss Nyla, who's sitting right here, did a very good job. We went to Sunday's Ice Cream, which is a local favorite establishment. They have fantastic and caring owners there at that shop, and Nyla requested, she told them what our group was about and requested some free ice cream cards, which he then gave to her based on the merit of her lovely presentation, and we used those the very next day to deliver to police officers at roll call with IMPD. So the kids had an opportunity to thank the officers for what they do in our community with an ice cream cone, which I'm sure they all enjoyed very much. But again, our young people gave us very good feedback, and again, Kaylin was very, very, very excited about that opportunity to meet the police officers and have these kind interactions with them, which I'm sure in the climate that we have today is very special. Moving. We kept the kids moving as much as possible. This is our day at Som Park Pool. Absolutely loved it. They loved the slides there, and for once, the first time this has ever happened, it was actually sunny and warm in July when we took them to Som Park Pool. I don't know how we end up there at the cold, rainy day in July, but it has happened. This is our day at Northside. They have a beautiful outdoor area at their campus. We were able to take kids on a lovely walk across the bridge, and kids got to climb trees, which is something that they don't normally get to do in their apartment complexes and other neighborhoods where they live. Also a fond memory from my youth. I love doing that. They have a beautiful indoor gym. We have a lot of churches that support us that have indoor gyms, Faith Presbyterian, Northside Baptist. We got to play a lot of basketball. They have they're set up, they have a ton of dodgeballs, so right after we were done playing basketball, we had a huge game of dodgeball. Kids loved that. I don't think they get to do that in gym class very often. Holy Cross Lutheran Church and had us over to their campus one day. They did a whole day of outdoor water games with us. Here they're playing water kickball. Fantastic. Again, we had beautiful, sunny, hot weather. The kids got to slide into the bases, get completely drenched. And the thing I don't have pictures of is they set up an outdoor water slide. They had a nice hill there, and they put tarps out on it. Dish soap, guy with a hose, over and over and over and over again. I know the kids slept well that night. It was fantastic. And afterwards, there was one young man that was blowing them all off with a leaf blower, drying them off. That was very fun. And wrapping up, coming to the end, the end of our celebration week, we took them to the roller cave, which is always a big hit. So I know that was probably way more information than you need, and I do still have some more slides, but I want to take 1 minute to have the families that are here with me from Share to stand up, please. And if you wouldn't mind, if you would say your name and just quickly what you like best about Share. Charlotte, if you would like to begin, I'd love that.
My name is Charlotte Coleman. I have 3 sons and a daughter that participated in Share, and we love you, Rebecca. She was a lifesaver for me, the sweet girl.
Thank you. We have a group here at this table. Leah? Oh, yeah, they better.
So I'm Leah, and I have a wife named Messiah. And really, I like having part of Share because my kids wouldn't be able to participate if there wasn't transportation, or they wouldn't be able to go outside and do all the fun activities. I work long hours, so they would probably be sitting in the house watching TV or playing video games. And so being able to get them out and do all that stuff. Josiah, even in the first, I'm sure he still enjoys it now, used to talk a lot about how much he enjoyed doing the service projects. Well,
Thank you. Boys?
I'm Elijah, and one of my favorite parts about doing Share was the random acts of kindness.
Solid. Josiah?
I'm Josiah, My favorite parts of Share was spending time with my friends and playing sports with them.
Excellent. Nyla?
I'm Nyla, and I would say a couple of things I liked was getting to meet people, going out in the community, and having something fun to look forward to throughout the summer.
Miranda?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Miranda Stovall, and what I loved about Share is how everyone was so nice and meeting new friends. And being in high school, you need community service hours, so that was
Also solid.
But I just love going because it's always good to get out of the house and have fun.
Thank you.
And I love you, Miss Rebecca.
Thank you. I love you too, Miranda. Miss Sally, would you like to? I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
My name is Sally Stovall, and I love Rebecca and what she have done for my daughter. She loved it. Miranda loved, not to stay home. She's one of those kids. She's involved in a lot of things. And like what she said, I work long hours downtown. It would be difficult for me to drive back and forth, to pick her and take her places. And we heard about Share. I think she's one of the.
She was in the very beginning.
Yeah, compared to my son, I have two kids. My son, he's now in college. He'd rather stay home and sit home, but not her. And I really appreciate Share, and I thank you for everything you are doing for this youth.
Thank you. I thank you all very much for coming, and I appreciate that so much that you took time out of your evenings. I know life with kids is very hectic, so thank you for supporting me in that way. So how do we fund all that fun? That's probably got to be top on your list. Well, we do request a fee. We suggest a fee of $30 for the summer, and we had people that paid that $30 right up front, and we had people that brought in a couple dollars at a time through the whole summer. And for the first year, this is the first year that we really had an appreciable amount of return on that, and we collected over $600 from families and fees. So we know that it's important to them. They're willing to spend their own money on it to be there. We have grants and gifts. Deanne Heydrich has helped me apply for a lot of grants. We've gotten grants from Metro Ministries, the Bishop's Christmas Offering, Sustain Indy. We got a nice grant from them. The Moorhead Family Foundation has been very generous to us. And we also have gotten a fantastic amount of support just from an annual appeal that we've done the last 2 years. I think we started with a goal of sending out 50 letters. Last year I sent out 100 letters. And we had some large donations in there, but we collected $10,000 from that small amount of from our annual appeal. Our faith partners, including Castleton United Methodist, have donated over $8,000 in financial support and in-kind donations of facility use. Faith Presbyterian allows us to use their church van. That's a huge asset to us. Food is big, and activity space, and a lot of that is in kind. But they also give to us financially as well, and we're supported by the Castleton United Methodist mission team as well, from Mission Giving, which is your faith promise giving at work. So what are the opportunities? What do we have in store for the future? We would love to add more education and enrichment. That was the very first thing that the guidance counselors talked to us about when we went to them and talked to them about this group. They said that they would love to keep kids learning, and I'm sure the kids are really disappointed to hear this, but the number one response on our post-summer survey from parents, why did you send your children to Share, it was to keep them learning during the summer. But you can see from those slides, we know how to keep learning fun, and we know that we can also get grants and things to add more educational activities into our curriculum and really get a great, fun program that minimizes learning loss over the summer. Increase our donor base and reach out to more local businesses. We know we've only scratched the surface, and we know with the amount of kindness and support and generosity and approval that we've gotten so far, we know that if we reach out, we can get even more support. With more funding, we can offer more meeting days. That was the number one comment for improvement on the program. 2 days is not enough. So if we have the funding to do that, we would love to do 3 days a week. But we don't want to grow so fast that we fail. We want to operate on that efficient place where we can provide excellent safety, excellent fun, excellent programming, keep everything under control, and still maximize the number of students that we can have. And we know, based on our statistics, we know that there are many, many more families in Lawrence Township that want this for their students, and we just don't have room for them yet. So what are the challenges that limit those opportunities for us? Transportation is a huge issue for us. Last summer, we had the most kids we've ever had, and we operated by renting vans, very inexpensively, but renting vans from Airport Van Rental, which meant we had to drive all the way down to the airport and pick up the vans and bring them back and drive them all the way back down and do it all again on Thursday. So we met on Tuesday and Thursday. That was huge. So it's such a blessing that Faith Presbyterian allows us to use that vehicle. That's one van that we don't have to worry about. Meeting space. Right now, it's fine. With the numbers of kids we had about an average of 35 students attending at every meeting. So with that number of students, we're fine hopping around from church to church. But when it really reaches the potential that it should be at, and we're really offering it to all of the families that want it, we're going to need a large, centralized meeting location. And I'm working with Lawrence Township Schools, thinking about some of the challenges that might be around that. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work something out there. But eventually we'll need a much larger meeting space. And with all of those things come more administration costs. We've been able to keep those low. My time is donated in kind, but I am only one person. And so I'm not really able to do all of the things that require to be done for the program at the excellent level that I would like to do them on my own. And the last burning question, is who will own Share? So right now we are currently operating out of Castleton United Methodist Church. It fits very well because we offer Cummins for the young kids, and we offer Stillwater for the older kids, and now we have Share that fills in the gap in the middle. But that may not be the right solution going forward, and we're talking with the leadership team and working through some of the challenges and issues and seeing if that indeed is what is going to be best for all of us. And if not, I'm sure it has shown itself to be the right thing to do, and the right thing to do always works out. So even if it doesn't end up being this, I know that we will find what we need to find. So how can you help? You're all here trapped in this room. What can you do? Definitely you can volunteer. We don't have a high requirement, or we don't have a high need for volunteers now that we can hire people to come and help. But like Cindy and Myra were fantastic about providing meals, loving, nutritious meals for the students. Miranda and Jonathan provided snacks on many occasions. So those kind of donations we can all use. The thing I'm really craving is help, organizational help. You know, somebody who can help with the website, somebody who can promote us and market us, somebody who can help with, you know, some of the accounting things. Deanne has helped me a lot with grant writing. So some of those organizational, administrative things I really need a lot of help with. Be a connector for me. I know you guys are all connected to people in the community who would like to support our cause. So if you know some of those people, do a little email connection. Connect me with people who are making a difference and want to know about this. People who are business owners, people who are in other churches that might like to partner with us. Please be a connector for me. Share our story and our mission. Let people know what we're doing. If you love it and value it, let other people know so that they have it as an opportunity for them as well. And the very final thing is I will never turn away money. Money helps in every way. And if you would like to support us financially above and beyond your mission giving, which we do get a portion of the Faith Promise money, but if you would like to support us above and beyond that, you can write checks to Castleton United Methodist and just designate Share in the memo section. And finally, thank you. Thank you to all of you guys for sitting through this really long talk and listening to me tell all the minutiae of the things that we did. I really appreciate your time and being here. Lives are busy. I appreciate you showing up and supporting me. I appreciate everybody who has donated food, donated time. Thank you especially to my husband and my family for supporting me in so many crazy, crazy ways. Hey, I'm short a driver. Can you come and drive a van full of kids around town? I wouldn't be able to do it without people that stepped in and did those things for me. So thank you so very much.